comes, you will write the report and you'll get it. But one of the things
Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Hamid Ansari, Honorable Justice A.K. Ganguly, Professor Rajkumar, I believe Mr. Naveen Jindal is on his way, about to arrive. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome everyone this evening to the launch of Oxford University Press's major new book, Corruption and Human Rights in India, by Professor Rajkumar. This book deals with the very topical issue of corruption. The author, Professor Rajkumar, who is the Vice Chancellor of O.P. Jindal Global University and Dean of Jindal Global Law School, adopts a different approach to the study of corruption. He argues that corruption should not be viewed just as an issue of law and order, but as a violation of human rights. He will be introducing the book to you later. I can only add, with conviction, that during my long career in publishing, I have come across few books that receive so many glowing endorsements like Professor Rajkumar's present book. And once you flip through this book, first 2 pages are full of endorsements, and they total 16, which I think is a great tribute to his scholarship and his respect in the academic community and amongst even the judiciary. This is the second book of Professor Rajkumar with us. His previous edited volume, Human Rights, Justice and Constitutional Empowerment, published in 2007, was published with resounding success. And I am very pleased that both the hardback and paperback did extremely well. We are delighted and honored to have an eminent chief guest and a very distinguished panel that reflects the importance of the topic covered by the book. I extend a special welcome to Mr. Hamid Ansari, Honorable Vice President of India. Thank you, sir, for your presence here and your support, and I know how consistently you support genuine academic endeavors, and Oxford University Press is a very rightful beneficiary of your presence in a number of occasions. I welcome Justice A.K. Ganguly, Justice, Supreme Court of India, and of course now Mr. Naveen Jindal has just arrived, Member of Parliament and Chancellor O.P. Jindal Global University. Thank you both for gracing the occasion. I would like to use the occasion to say a few words about law publishing at Oxford University Press, India. As a university press, it is our constant endeavor to publish books that can make significant contribution to debates and policy-making initiatives. Considering the relevance of this book we are releasing today in shaping the ongoing debate on this topic, it was imperative on the part of Oxford University Press to bring out the book in the shortest possible time. And I'm glad that with the support of Professor Kumar, the author, our editors worked, I must say, exceptionally on an exceptional tight schedule to bring it out in a very short time. OUP's law publishing is designed to reflect the whole gamut of prominent themes relevant to the law in India in the context of the myriad issues facing a rapidly changing society. From books dealing with constitutional law to patent law, from legal history to gender issues, we have published the works of not only academics but also of judges, advocates, and policymakers. Apart from academic books, we also publish handbooks for practitioners and omnibuses and textbooks for key law courses. And I think quite a few of those important books are on display outside for you to have a look at. And I'm glad to say that the response to our law publishing in this very important phase of India where so much is happening is quite overwhelming. As head of Oxford University Press of India, I'm really proud that we are publishing this major book. And I look forward to our working with the O.P. Jindal Global University in future endeavors. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. Thank you. May I now invite the author, Professor C. Kumar, to introduce the book.
His Excellency Mr. Hamid Hansari, Honorable Vice President of India, Honorable Mr. Justice A.K. Ganguly, Judge of the Supreme Court of India, Mr. Naveen Jindal, Chancellor, O.P. Jindal Global University, Mr. Manzar Khan, Managing Director, Oxford University Press, distinguished invitees, Honorable Judges, Members of Parliament, academics, civil society, representatives, students, friends from the media, as well as my other colleagues from O.P. Jindal Global University. At the outset, I would like to appreciate the kindness of the Honorable Vice President of India for accepting our invitation to release this book. It means a lot to me personally that a person who has maintained the highest standards of personal integrity in public life is releasing this book on fighting corruption in India. I am grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice A.K. Ganguly, Judge of the Supreme Court of India, for his presence on this occasion. I have had the opportunity to develop a very close relationship with the distinguished judge on the basis of our interactions on a variety of issues relating to law and justice. Justice Ganguly has always walked an extra mile to reach out to academics and scholars and to engage with them with a view to sharing perspectives on important questions of law and justice. Last but not the least, I am thankful to my dear friend and our distinguished Chancellor, Mr. Naveen Jindal, for his august presence today. I know that he ought to have been in Hisar for a public meeting today, but he has chosen to be here with us. I appreciate this kind gesture. Mr. Jindal has been a beacon of inspiration and an inspiring example of what corporate philanthropy can do to make a difference and seek transformation in India. His revolutionary act of philanthropy culminated in the creation of a multidisciplinary university known as the O.P. Jindal Global University with 4 schools focusing on the study of law, business, public policy, and international affairs. What is truly amazing is the fact that he has inspired us as academics to engage in rigorous research and scholarship on cutting-edge issues of contemporary significance as the university maintains the highest degree of academic freedom, functional autonomy, and operational independence. The subject matter of the book is of no doubt of great significance. The theme of the book is to examine the impact of corruption on the protection and promotion of human rights. I began working on this issue way back in 2002 when I published an article on corruption and human rights in the noted magazine Frontline. That article generated considerable interest, which I followed up with a more comprehensive article on this issue, which was published in the Columbia Journal of Asian Law in 2003. Since then, my interest in this subject grew, and a good part of my research, both in Japan and in Hong Kong in my earlier time as an academic, has focused on the study of corruption across many countries in the world, including India. This book examines the problem of corruption from the standpoint of human rights and its implications for access to justice and the rule of law. It recognizes that corruption that takes place in India directly impinges on the human rights of our citizens. The book has preferred to use human rights-based approaches to seek greater transparency and accountability in the fight against corruption than only relying upon criminal law and criminal justice systems' effectiveness. In this regard, the book argues that public law remedies in the form of seeking accountability through legal, constitutional, and institutional measures are critical in the fight against corruption, including expanding the right to information and strengthening the whistleblower laws. The book provides a framework and a way forward in the fight against corruption. It has recommended the establishment of an independent commission against corruption similar to that of Hong Kong and some other countries. While comparative experiences of successes in fighting corruption may be helpful, we cannot in India rely and hope that a mere emulation of the institutional designs and legal mechanisms adopted by other countries can help in the fight against corruption in India. I am of the view that corruption in India can be reduced and eliminated only in a gradual and progressive manner. The first steps in this process are related to our effort to build a society based on the rule of law. Respect for the rule of law by all power holders, including politicians, bureaucrats, judges, corporations, and all other stakeholders, is absolutely essential if we are serious about the fight against corruption. In relation to the ongoing debate surrounding the introduction of the Lokpal Bill in the Parliament, I have argued, among other things, in the postscript to the book, that the Prime Minister of India should be within the jurisdiction of the Lokpal while in office. The Constitution of India has provided a very strong framework to ensure the right to equality and equal protection of laws. In the past, there have been instances when the Prime Ministers and their actions have come for serious scrutiny, including levelling of allegations of corruption. Due to the lack of independent investigative mechanisms for dealing with allegations of corruption against the Prime Ministers, a fertile ground has been created for politicization of corruption, leading to the Indian citizenry losing faith in the legal system's ability to effectively deal with corruption. There is a historic opportunity to establish an institution in India that will not only address the issue of corruption, but also, more importantly, seek to restore the faith of the Indian citizenry in democracy and the rule of law. Rule of law in India cannot be protected if corruption is not addressed with all honesty and sincerity. The Lokpal Bill, in my view, should bear in mind that the institution of Lokpal has the ability to transform the governance paradigm in India and even inspire other institutions to work more effectively. While the inclusion of the Prime Minister within the Lokpal's jurisdiction will ensure due empowerment of the institutional machinery to fight corruption, the very exclusion of the Prime Minister will affect both the credibility and legitimacy of the institution. Lokpal's jurisdiction should not be limited by excluding the Prime Minister when the Prime Minister plays a critical role as the chair of the cabinet in the decision-making processes relating to the government functioning. The global trend on the question of seeking accountability is to recognize one of the fundamental principles of the rule of law, which is however high a person is, the law is above him. The Lokpal Bill should ensure that there are adequate checks and balances to limit the instances of frivolous cases that are being brought against the Prime Minister. The bill ought to envisage a separate process for seeking the investigation and prosecution of the Prime Minister by adding a higher level of scrutiny and review mechanism by an independent operations review board. The purpose of this additional level of mechanism that will have the power to sanction the investigation against the Prime Minister on the basis of prima facie evidence is to ensure that the investigation is not a wild goose chase, but rather based on concrete evidence subject to further verification. This will also provide the necessary checks and balances for the independent functioning of the Lokpal. Lastly, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, former judge of the Supreme Court of India, who at the age of 96 has written a very nice foreword to the book, and Justice P.N. Bhagwati, former Chief Justice of India, who has also commented on the book. I have dedicated this book to my parents, who instilled in me a sense of honesty and integrity, my wife, who has trusted in my abilities to write this book, and of course my children, who quietly supported me in this endeavor. I am particularly grateful to my professors, Professor M.P. Singh, Professor Parmanand Singh, who is here, and Professor B.B. Pandey, for their inspiration all these years. I am thankful to the Oxford University Press and its professionally competent team of editors, including Mr. Praveen Dev, Mr. Manish Kumar, and Ms. Rovina Kaparat of Oxford University Press for their support to the publication of this book at an extraordinarily fast time. I would like to thank all of you for accepting our invitation to be here, and in particular the faculty members, staff, and the students of OP Jindal Global University, who inspire me every day by their passion, commitment, and dedication to participate in the larger project of nation building through institution building. I would like to thank one of my mentors, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, for his inspiration all these years to my work, and I am glad that his wife Sunanda is here with me. In particular, my sincere appreciation is due to my colleagues at the university, Mr. Aman Shah, Dr. Sanjeev Sani, Dr. Sriram Chaulia, Professor Murthy, Dr. Michael Barnes, Dr. Mamta Sharma, and Ms. Neha Full for their support. We can be successful in our effort to build a nation that our freedom fighters and the framers of Constitution envisage only if we eliminate corruption from all walks of life. I sincerely hope this book makes a small contribution to that larger effort. Thank you.
May I invite the Honourable Justice to give his address.
Good evening to all of you. His Excellency, the Vice President of India, Mr. M. Hamid Ansari, Mr. Naveen Jindal, Member of Parliament and Chancellor of OP Jindal Global University, my good friend Professor Raj Kumar, Vice Chancellor of the University, Mr. Khan, who is carrying the whole show on behalf of Oxford University Press, Justice Sikri of Delhi High Court, ladies and gentlemen, and other distinguished members of the audience. I really feel honored to be before you on this evening in connection with the book release on a topic of great social relevance. If I may say so, Mr. Professor Rajkumar could not have timed it better. I mean, it reminds us of those great cricketers. So Indian cricketers are floundering now, but they are great players. They had a very great sense of timing in executing their shots. I think Professor Rajkumar has done the same thing. He has traced the history relating to corruption in society right from Kautilya down to this present day ongoing debate on Lokpal Bill. Well, I am still a sitting judge of the Supreme Court, though I have some constraints of my office. But as a student of law, I really feel that there is no substance in the debate that Prime Minister should be outside the bill. If Lokpal Bill is meant for introducing scrutiny in the affairs of those who are holding a public office, nobody will dispute the position that the Prime Minister is holding a public office of great importance. So anybody holding public office, this is my view on the subject as a student of law, anyone holding a public office cannot shy away from public scrutiny. And as far as I know, I mean, from the newspaper reports, Prime Minister himself is willing